As part of my research into brutalism investing for pensions, I came across today an article in the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is a newspaper and, of course, website, very popular in the UK and also now in the United States. It's primarily targeted at people who are or consider themselves to be middle class, in particular for women. And this article by someone called Stacey Dugwit um, talks about the fact that she had been a very high profile career person in the fashion industry, and she lost her job basically just before she was 50 years old. And she runs through in the article a series of hard luck stories, how she had to sell her house and how she had some problems, personal problems. She has two children, and she ends up in a house which she managed to pay off in a reasonable area of London, although not in the best place. And she talks about trying to find a new job, and she's been unsuccessful in finding a new job. And she basically, in the article, blames the fact that she's a woman and that she's being screened out. Her CVs are being screened out by artificial intelligence and ATS, the Applicant Recruitment Tracking System. I would also like to say that she seems to be very proactive, obviously a very capable woman, and she is now trying to start a site, a social media site to address these issues which other women of a certain age are experiencing when they lose their jobs. The fundamental concept of brutalism investing and the advantages of considering a country that is focused on growth, like Georgia on the Black Sea, to build up your pension portfolio. The fundamental principle is that we're no longer preparing for retirement in the traditional way. The idea that you can get a pension from the government in 10 or 20 years' time that will be useful, or indeed will even exist. The idea that you can get a tracker fund, and because it's worked for the last 20 years or 100 years, if you withdraw 4%, is going to work in the future when the fundamental balance of power in the world has already changed. We see this every day. It's no longer sensible to say that if I have a tracker fund on European stocks, everything will grow at 4% a year. In fact, not only is it no longer reasonable to assume that, it's pretty stupid to assume that. So when you look at this very capable woman, not an old woman at 50, who is unable to find another job and finds herself in dire straits, and she talks about going to the job centre and kind of blames it on being female. But I think it's more to do with simply the idea that a long-term career is an unlikely event for anyone currently. Generation X is millennials in their sort of 40s. It's unlikely, unless you're exceptionally good and exceptionally lucky, that you're going to stay in a career for 20 more years with no breaks, continue to get promoted, and continue to be able to contribute yourself into some kind of pension fund. You have to be more aggressive than that. It's brutal out there. It's really brutal out there. And if you simply follow the convention of investing in a pension wrapper, into, say, a self-invested pension or into some kind of tax-efficient method, that's fine. But I do not think it's going to be sufficient. And I do not think you should assume that, I'm just going to be in this job for 20 years, so there won't be a problem. There will be a problem, almost certainly. And you will find yourself at 50 or before and unable to get back on the ladder, unable to get back into a good job. So you need to start investing now. And my experience when I was fired for about the fifth time in my 50s and was able to retire because I had invested. And all the good things of investment in high growth countries played out as advertised, and I was able to retire. And I think that now this is the way you need to approach life. You're not saving for retirement. You're saving for financial independence as soon as possible. And unless you're making millions and millions of dollars a year, you need to take advantage of compound growth, and you need to take advantage of property, and you need to invest. And you must not invest in countries that are static or going backwards, and where the government is talking mainly about forms of taxation or the next war they're into or want to continue, or just nothing to do really with how to grow the economy and how to help people prepare for an independent future. If you're in the European Union today, you're effectively in the Soviet Union recast for the 21st century based out of Brussels. These are people, globalists, who have no respect for borders, who are not interested in growth. They're interested in the perpetuation of their own careers. And you will not be able to prepare for financial independence in your early 50s. And you don't have much time. So I'll continue with these random thoughts. But behind these random thoughts is a very clearly articulated strategy called brutalism investing, and it's based in part around investing in property in the country of Georgia, because I believe there's no better location for Europeans in the world right now than the property market, the real estate market in Georgia. It is like Dubai 20 years ago in a democracy, not in the Middle East, but on the Black Sea, an hour away by Ryanair from many capitals in Europe. The time to invest is now, and the country to invest is Georgia. And you do not have a lot of time. And it's not because you're a woman, and it's not because of artificial intelligence. It just is because this is the way it is. And it's brutal out there, and you need brutalist investing. And brutalism investing depends on the country of Georgia. If this is interesting, follow me.